In my first shellac video, I explained that waxy shellac, when made up, looks like gravy and not the glorious clear stuff that everybody else on YouTube was showing. I also demonstrated how to use tapioca pearls to turn cheap hardware store alcohol into near industrial grade dry spirit. In my second shellac video, I had discovered Dewaxed shellac that was also very blonde in colour. And I explained that I was going to be switching to using it halfway through the process, after getting the colour right, to give me a little bit of leeway if I needed to do some minor sanding without messing up the evenness of colour. I'd kind of confused in my mind that dewaxed was blonde and waxy was coloured. It turns out you can get dewaxed coloured and waxy blonde shellac. So since I was accustomed to using orange shellac, I went out to order some orange dewaxed. Turns out that none of the local suppliers in Australia sell it, and I had to import it. So the first experiment of the day is to see how close this imported orange dewaxed shellac is in colour to what I've been using so far. After that, we're going to get a little bit mad scientist, because what I can get locally is dewaxed lemon, garnet and ruby flakes. So I'm going to make up those and see if I can mix them together to get something that's close as possible to the orange colour that I've been using so far. I'll be making a 3-pound cut for all of the mixtures today. That's 50 grams of flakes to 140 mils of spirit. There were some fairly chunky flakes, so this will take a while to dissolve. So we'll give that one a nice warm bath to speed the process along. I'll also label the bottles just in case the colours get a bit confusing. So lemon, garnet and ruby. Nothing is close to dissolved yet, but my initial impressions are that they're not as clear as the blonde that I'd previously been using. The garnet is close to black, and the orange is also very, very dark, and ruby is actually quite light and not all that red. I just checked my previous video. It appears that I used a 2-pound cut in that, and that took forever, so I think I'll add another 60 mils of alcohol to all of these. Everything seems to have dissolved overnight, so following internet advice, I'm going to transfer them to borosilicate bottles. The shellac came with these filters, which I presume are finer than this and coarser than coffee filters, which I can tell you from experience are way too fine. I'm reusing the same filter, so I'm doing them lightest to darkest. I reckon I might get another use out of this filter. Clean enough for the next batch of shellac. It's possible I may have gone a little bit overboard here. We've got all of our new shellacs set up here, labelled in dispenser bottles, jars, temporary rubbers. I've got a bit of Tasmanian blackwood and some celery top pine, and I'm going to be comparing our original waxy orange shellac with the new orange and the 3 component colours. I want to build up a more or less consistent amount of colour across all 5 shellacs so that I can just get an idea of what they look like on this timber. A few layers in, the differences are a little bit subtle, to say the least. It's also starting to grab a little bit, so time to introduce a bit of oil to the rubbers. After half a day, we're starting to see some difference. First, on the Tasmanian blackwood, the two oranges are sort of similar. The dewaxed one is a little darker. Between the lemon and the ruby, there's a tiny bit of additional red in the ruby, and of course the garnet just takes it darker. With the lighter celery top pine, my lack of surface prep is a little bit more obvious. The two oranges are quite similar. The lemon and the ruby are also very similar. The addition of a tiny little bit more of a red hue there is almost undetectable, and the garnet is fairly unattractive. I think I've built up the colour enough. We've got the waxy orange, lemon, dewaxed orange, ruby and garnet. On the darker timber we have exactly the same thing. I want to show you the results under a variety of lighting and camera colour balance settings. To my eye, all of these colours appear rich, vibrant, deep and lustrous. The garnet, on the other hand, while I was building, appeared to be grey, dull, smoky and shadowy. So I'm not nearly so sure of being able to mix what I want from locally available colours. The lemon and the ruby, even by themselves, are very nice, though the orange adds a little bit of extra depth that I think I like. That leads me to think that mixing all three would be a very nice way to go. But I'm still tempted to see whether we can take the lemon and the ruby and darken it with the locally available garnet to see if we can get something that's acceptable. My first experiment is going to be equal parts lemon, ruby and orange. The second experiment is going to be 3 parts lemon, 3 parts ruby to 1 part garnet. It's been quite warm, so I've been able to get a lot of build-up, and the colours are looking quite nice. They're fairly similar. The one with garnet in it isn't unduly dull or shadowy or smoky, so that's promising, but we'll have to wait a little while just to get it up a bit more to judge finally. Once again, we've got lemon, ruby, orange, equal mix, and lemon, ruby and a small amount of garnet. We don't have direct sunlight today, so I'll let you see the other panels as well. So what do you think? I reckon the garnet doesn't dull it as much as I had feared, but it does just a tiny bit, and that would depend upon the amount that you add. If I had to pick a single colour to work with from now on, it would probably be ruby. The red in it is very understated, but the deepest, richest, most vibrant colour on these two pieces, in my opinion, is the mix of lemon, ruby and the imported orange. So that's what I'm going to have to be committed to. Moving forward, and remember that I French polish my soundboard separate from the rest of the guitar, the options are endless.